Alright guys, are you ready to learn some Voldis? So gate 1 is super simple. Let's talk about the major mechanics first. So hard mode, you know the HP is there. When you push her HP onto maybe like 80-ish lines, she's going to do the first mechanic. And when she does the first mechanic, she disappears and then teleports to the center. And she will turn into a little flower and then fire a bunch of different green and purple seeds, right? So when she phases here, the seeds will spawn on the bottom side of the map. So the top side, it doesn't spawn. If you eat 3 green ones, you do additional stagger. If you eat the purple seed, what happens is you lose a stack of green. Therefore, you do less stagger, right? So your goal is technically, if you're like, let's say a gunless or you see me here, you'll be taking all the seeds, right? And then you would be staggering it when the stagger thing appears. The stagger requirement is that it's not that high. From me looking into this, most of you guys will have problem getting hit by these yellow large vines. The yellow large vines spawn based on where the purple seed reaches the wall. There, for example, this seed over here is going to be reaching this wall, correct? On the right side. And when the seed reaches it, it's going to spawn the vines. So you can kind of think of it that way. Or if you happen to be eating like let's say a purple stack, you can actually eat it up to 2. If you eat 3 of them, you get rooted. Therefore, you can eat 2 of them to block, like let's say maybe on the front side, to make it easier. When the vines are already in place, don't be afraid to go in, and then you kind of see the yellow parts first, and then you find the empty spot and go there quickly and then stagger accordingly there too. But generally, the mechanic itself is actually not that hard. And then when you're done, she's going to explode, and this explosion is going to hurt you, so make sure you stay a little bit apart. And you don't need to buff here as well if you're a support. She can be up to like 40 to 45. That's when the new mechanic starts. When she starts, she disappears to one of the corners, and she will dash to the other corner like this, right? So what at the earlier times, what people did wrong was they chased the boss. They chased the boss, and you see these flowers that spawn. They spawn under your feet. Let's say the boss is like dashing to the corner and then dashing to the other corner. You're trying to do more DPS. This is like a phase mechanic. Therefore, all you need to do is just pay attention to your character spawning the flower, and then you'll be fine. And then there will also be vines too. And then she will automatically teleport to the center, and she will cover herself with vine thorns. And this is a reflect damage. If you actually attack her by accident, you will die. And when this phase starts, one player will be marked at the top, and the rest won't. And there will be yellow puff spawning, and then there will be purple puff spawning. It's pretty small. And what this target means is, you see this Venus flytrap, right? It's going to stab in, and then it's going to spawn like a grab under your feet. So you see this here. So this is the effect. And if you stand on top of this yellow stuff here, the yellow puff, it's going to eat it. If this is left too long, it's going to explode, and it's going to cast sleep on you. So another example footage here, right? This thing is left too long, therefore it explodes. If you're close to it, it's going to stun you. You gotta get slept, and then you need to attack them to wake them up. Your goal in this mechanic is, while this is doing the reflect damage, you're going to tap the purple orbs, auto attacking them. But you see how I'm auto attacking, right? If you auto attack it twice, it will automatically go in. You don't need to like angle it or anything. So they're all putting it in. And the minimum amount of purple puffs you need to do the mechanic properly is 15. If you notice here in the icon, it says 11. We put more in, and then you see how this is showing as green, right? This means that she is weakened a little bit. And then if you put more in, it turns into yellow, right? It turns into yellow, and this means she is severely weakened. And what you need to do at this point is you need to throw firebomb or a fire skill. Now let me show you what happens if you don't burn her up. So if you run out of time, she explodes, and it does significant amount of damage. The reason why we lived is because we were over leveled. Most on item level players, if you're close, if she's not weakened enough, she's going to kill most of you guys. And if she's not weakened, she is berserked. She's like a mini berserk. So she moves much faster, right? She moves much faster, and then she does much higher damage. So you can kind of consider it as not being able to be cleared on item level if you fail the mechanic. Now let me show you the successful one. So this is a regular example of us succeeding here. When fire skills work properly, all you need to do is throw it when this reflect buff is disappeared. So you say this 3, right? 3, 2, 1. When this icon disappears, this means that she doesn't reflect your damage anymore. This is when you throw your fire attack, and one of the players on the fire attack throw a fire skill, and then you'll see another icon popping up. That means that she is burning, and then she has this debuff on. This is actually a tip, but you don't need to force it. If you have 25 stacks, right, before you do the burn damage, your icon turns to, this icon turns yellow, correct? If you inflict burn damage when she's at the severe weakened state, you do 10 to 12% more damage. So what you do is sometimes when this runs out, when this runs out, you still have about 1 to 2 more seconds to put in the purple orbs in, because no matter how fast you do it, you won't be able to put in all the orbs before this debuff runs out, even if, no matter how fast you do it. So this is pretty fast. Like the reflect damage ran out, but you still have a couple more orbs left to make it 25 stacks. So when you see it 25 stacks and then burn it, you will be able to do 10 to 12% more damage. So this is actually pretty significant if you're playing on item level. And then after that, all you need to do is kill her to drop her HP to 0. That's it. Now we're gonna talk about some tips upon like the actual fight. See if I can talk anything about it while we're looking at some videos. When you're a Gunlancer, this is actually a good tip for Gunlancer players. Her stuffs are mostly tauntable, and she's tauntable when she doesn't have an effect, like a leaf effect on it. And you see this motion where she's trying to crouch, right? And if you taunt when she's crouching most of the time, that's more of like a jumping attack. Again, you can taunt all of that stuff. And as for entropy, most attacks are actually back friendly. It's just that she moves around too fast. That's why the entropy classes have a problem doing DPS. And most of the yellow warnings are pretty much easy to be recognized. It's just that it does a lot of damage, and it does shotgun damage too. This one, if you're playing on eye level, this particular pattern, you see this here, this actually hurts a lot, and if you get hit by 2 of them at once, you'll get one-shotted. So you gotta make sure that when you see these square red lines, make sure you stand safely in place and then do DPS. She does this pattern a lot, okay? When she teleports like this, she usually has an icon of image of like a spinning thing. So this is either inside safe or outside safe. All you need to do is, if it's inside safe, the ring is like pretty safe in there. Make sure you get in, but you start close first, because if you start from far, you will be pushed off. So whenever she teleports, make sure you kind of like stick close to it. But if she teleports to the corner, what you guys need to watch out is, you see these fly traps, right? Sometimes the fly trap will attack you at the same time, or she will also create tendies in under your feet to grab you away from it. So you see that yellow mark over there? So she goes to a corner, and one of the fly traps will try to grab you too. And if you get grabbed, someone needs to save you, which is a severe lack of DPS opportunities. So you gotta watch those out too. This attack, she will throw, and then she'll fire a bunch of wind projectiles, right? So she aims at someone. So she's going to be aimed at the Gunlancer, right? She's aimed at the Gunlancer. If the Gunlancer goes behind her, she will turn her head 180 degrees, okay? And the reason why this is very, very dangerous is because you see this here. Obviously, the Gunlancer, we're busters, right? He's severely outgeared. It's a shotgun attack, and sometimes if he actually doesn't have his Xeon and the Awakening Shield, he dies too. Whenever you see this, you have to watch out. You know, just don't try to spin it around. This attack actually kills people too. So what she does is, you see this crouching here that I taunted. So this is tauntable. She jumps over and she stomps at a ground, right? So you see the stomp here. If you get hit by this stomp, she spawns an outer ring explosion like this. This thing hurts a lot. When she jumps like that, don't walk off, you spacebar in. So this is another example of a regular DPS player. So this is the sharpshooter. This is a footage of us busting, right? So she does the shotgun attack. So the sharpshooter knows that he's the aggro. She sees her firing it, and then he walks back. So it's very important for you to recognize who is aggro to, and you wait until she fires, and then you just walk downwards. And also, this is the example of the outside safe. So when she's doing this spin, you see how we're close first, and then we spacebar out even though we take tick damage. This is very important, chat, because if she happens to do the outer ring, you get hit much more. So it's always important to be close to her first. So there's also another point where she spawns all these tendies. So these tendies can grab you if you're near them. You can actually destroy them, but the issue is the support can't destroy it by itself. So if you are like a DPS player, if you happen to be having some free skills left over, you can actually go around and destroy these, because the fight will be much longer for eye level players. So this is the last one, right? When she glows pink like this is a Medusa. Just make sure if she glows pink, just don't look at her. This is like a, I guess like a, not a crazy tip, but if you're playing a support, you can actually stack your identity up by hitting the corner Venus Splash Trap. So here's another one that I wanted to show you guys. This pattern here, it's front back safe, right? The next one is always perpendicular. Yeah, perpendicular. And this is also tauntable too. Don't fight the boss in a corner, because what happens is these Venus Splash Trap will trap you as well. So it's important, if you're like a ranged Hitmaster class, always be in the center so that you can kind of drag her out. In order for you to recognize her counter, she usually spins around in place. So this is like a spin around in place, and then she counters. And then when she counters, if you miss this particular counter, she does a counter again. So it gives you another chance. So for those of you who are interested in figuring out the counter, she does like a twirl and then she dashes away. And the second dash is usually another counter too. So this is also a well-known counter that you guys will see all the time. So what she does is she will disappear, and then she'll be cloned in 4. The way to figure out which one it is she usually have a marking up. If you can't figure it out by having no marking or whatever, if you're in the middle, you can actually react to it very easily. Yeah, so that's it for gate 1. I don't really need to talk about much, because this is just a super easy, yeah, this is just a super easy gate.